Hey everybody, welcome to SwingBadder from BadderSports. I'm your host Brendan, and this is Aiden, and you're with us for the Texas Ranger recap, or as we like to talk it, going to the moon.
And then crashing back down again.
So I had them going a sweep and getting swept. You had them going, I think, 3-3 as well.
Yes.
And they did it. Hats off, Rangers. You did exactly what we thought you were going to do. You didn't give me a sweep, and you didn't get swept, but you were 3-3. Aiden, walk us through the week.
Well, the Rangers always seem to do what we think they're going to do, but never the way that we want them to do it. So they start off going 2-1 against the Orioles. You know, we score 13 runs over those last two games. Everything's looking good going into the series against the Mariners. And then we proceed to have 3 straight games where we go into extra innings, and we lose the first and the third one. It's just absolutely brutal. And
but I mean, the nice thing is you're in the extra innings, you're getting ready for that playoff caliber baseball.
Except the thing is, I've watched all 3 of these games, and we should have won all 3 of them in the bottom of the ninth. I think in every single one of these games, we had a runner in scoring position with less than 2 outs and didn't score them. And the only reason we won that one game against the Mariners was because we got that one hit. But that doesn't tell the story of the 9 other times in the other 2 games, not even counting tonight's game, where we also went into extra innings and lost, where we could have just hit a single and won the game. Just so simple. And Kyle Higashioka in that last game against the Mariners, where we lost 4-6, came up twice, once in the 9th and once in the 11th, with a runner on third with less than 2 outs. All he had to do was get a bloop single and game is over. He could not do it. As a matter of fact, the only reason we won that game against the Mariners 3-2 on Saturday is because we had the bases loaded, and Simeon hit a bloop single over the diving second baseman to walk it off. The margin of error that this team has to have is so small in order for them to win. It's just, we can't do anything. The clutch hitting is just so bad. Our lineup is falling apart. Guys are getting injured. Young can't hit high fastballs. Garcia's swinging and missing like he's trying to hit a 500-foot home run. It's just not working out.
Here's the most alarming thing to me when I look at the standings. I expected the Angels to kind of crater, and they've really played good baseball. They're not great baseball, but they played some good baseball. The fact that the Rangers are in 4th this far into the season is a little shocking to me, especially if you look at like having the A's, which we thought would be a little bit better, but they've had some good times and some bad times, but their bad times are pretty epic. So they're 41-43 at the end of last week. And it's just, they're the biggest problem that I see with this division. It's like what I felt kind of with the Tigers. The Astros are jumping away from everyone so far that they have to have like kind of a comeback to earth, or one of the 3 teams below them has to get super hot. And right now, Seattle hasn't been super hot all year, and the Angels haven't been super hot, and the Rangers are not. You're talking about the Seattle 6-4 in the last 10. That's the best. Then it's 5-5, 5-5. And if we look at the Rangers all year long, it's 5-5. We just basically said 3-3. Like, I'm glad to see the fans all excited and there, happy to be there, happy to be Texas Ranger fans, but something's got to break one way or the other, because I don't see the pitching escaping you. Like, there are some teams like the Royals, they're struggling with hitting, but their pitching is what's hurting them now. I don't think the Rangers are going to fall off a cliff on their pitching. I think their pitching's going to be very good.
Yes. I mean, Chris Martin's been like an elite middle relief pitcher. deGrom is pitching like a Cy Young winner again. I'm actually going to go watch him pitch tomorrow. Not Corbin Burns. Hobie Milner's doing very well. Uvalde's back. He pitched okay on Friday. Maley's injured, but he's been good in all the starts that he's had. This pitching has still been consistent, like we've been saying. But again, that also comes with the side effect of this offense still not being able to hit. Now, admittedly, Our offense has actually been pretty good this month of June. You said you were keeping up with the monthly stats. I think the Rangers are like top 5 in offensive and a bunch of offensive categories, including OPS for the month of June. And that's largely helped by the return of Seager. He's been hot lately. He hit home runs in every single game against the Mariners. And what's his face? Simeon has also had an incredible month of June. So it's nice to see him finally returning.
Here's my issue with the Rangers. Yes, they're starting to hit again. I thought this was going to happen. I felt this was going to occur. The problem is the wins and losses. You look at the start of the year, the first month of the year, March until the end of April, which is 1 month, they were 14-14. The second month of May, they're 14-18. Didn't have a great month. This last month in June, they're 12-12. Like, something's got to give. And if you look at the division, like the Mariners were 16-12. They had the best start. Then it was the Astros at 18-14. That's pretty good. 4 games above 500, but it's the best in the division. The last month for the Astros, they're 18-7, which is why they're so far above everybody else in that division. That's why you see the separation, because nothing for nothing, the next best team in this division is the Angels for this last month at 15-10. Everyone else is 500 or below 500, and the Mariners are below 500. The A's are below 500. So when I look at this, it's like I don't think the Astros are an 18-7 club the whole way through. That's just not realistic. However, if they're 18-14, that means the rest of them, or if you want to gain games, you got to go 19-11. You got to go 21-11. That's hard. You know, you're winning 2 out of 3 for 30 straight games. And these Rangers, nothing for nothing, the offense has not told me that they can do 2 out of 3 consistently. Something that, just to your point, it's the timely hitting, but it's also the consistency of the hitting. The pitching's there. They have the best runs allowed in baseball right now. It's miraculous. They're 302. That's the least amount of runs in baseball. For this team to be under 500 is a travesty.
It's like the whole team has deGrom syndrome.
It's. I mean, you're not wrong. And the other thing that's crazy, just here's the other teams that are in the top on runs allowed. Houston Astros, second. New York Yankees, second. Those teams lead their division. The Royals, we talked about them having a bad come back to earth. Their pitching starting to come back to earth. Then it's the Giants. They're not terrible. They had a rough week, but not terrible. The Detroit Tigers. Then you have the Braves, the Mets, the Padres, the Rays. All these teams are giving themselves a chance. And then I look at the records, and the only teams that stand out to me are like the Rangers, the Royals, the Braves. Those teams are out of it. But their pitching's going to keep them in it. And if their hitting can take off, they can have a month where they're 20-10. That's not unrealistic. Do you see that in the future?
It only happens if our lineup gets back together and our guys start hitting consistently. At no point this year has there been a time in which all of the guys in our lineup have been healthy and have been at least not in a slump. Like right now, you have Peterson injured and Berger injured. Carter is been out for a couple games, and Langford has also been injured for a little bit. So you've got 3 major members of that offensive lineup that are injured, plus the fact that Young is also in a severe slump right now, which is hurting the team because he's been a big part of this lineup. And so once Young can start hitting like normal, Peterson and Berger come back and, return to the mean, because that's just what's going to happen because they're both batting like below 200. And then Langford comes back, and it's just that's the situation that I see us beginning to come back. But until that happens, no chance. Frankly, not even a run at the playoffs.
And I think when I look at the whole month, I was just looking at the schedule for the whole month of July. Obviously, got the All-Star break in the middle of it. But they face the Orioles again right now. Then it's the Padres. Then it's the Angels. Then it's the Astros. Then you have the break. Then it's the Tigers, the Athletics, the Braves, the Angels, the Mariners. At the end of July, we're going to look at this month and we're going to go, You're either going to have, if you have a 500 month, you sustained it. But if you're under 500 this month, that may be it. Because you're talking about teams like the Astros, the Angels twice, the Mariners. the Tigers, the Braves. These are really these are winnable matchups, winnable series. I would even argue that if you're playing well, you're definitely in it with the Tigers. But, man, if you get swept by the Astros and the Angels take it to you next week, like, I don't know what to tell you, but that's hard to recover on those.
Yeah. And it's honestly hard to even accurately – I mean, obviously it's always hard to accurately predict, but it's going to be especially hard this week or next week we have the Angels and the Astros. Because we've seen Rangers beat these high-caliber teams and, put pitchers in high-pressure innings by getting guys on base, which suggests that you have a consistent offensive lineup going. But as has been demonstrated, we've gone 4 straight games in extra innings and lost 3 of them at home, which is just unacceptable and demonstrates our lack of clutch hitting. And if we can carry that over, if we are going to carry that over into these upcoming series, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and the other thing that I look at, even the Rockies are having some more wins. So the teams that were like everyone was like, oh, it's going to be easy. Like the Marlins had the best week last week. They went 6-0. So like if you got swept by the Marlins, you'd be feeling crazy crummy today. So the Orioles are not the Orioles that they were a month ago. They're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Like even the Rockies are not the same team they were a month ago. Like nothing for nothing, the Rockies are going to get one from you if you're not paying attention, possibly 2, and they could even sweep you. Even the teams on the bottom are going to hurt teams on the top. And when I look at the Rangers, it's like before this month or 2 months ago, I looked at the Angels. I'm like, those are good games. You can get some wins. You can stack them up. Now I look at those games, and I'm like, the Angels are playing good baseball. They're pitching good. They're hitting timely. They're winning some games here. I mean, they're 15-10 in the last month. That's a really good team.
Yeah,
putting together some nice wins.
Well.
So when I look at that and I look at the Rangers, I'm like, I have yet to see the Rangers do that, where it's like, oh, look, they're playing well. We have yet to see them play well as a team. We've seen good individual performances. We've seen great pitching performances. We've seen them good as a team overall in pitching. The hitting is just what's driven us nuts watching this team every week.
Frankly, the only time you could argue that we've done well this season is that 6-game stretch against the Twins and the White Sox where we went 5-1 and obviously scored those 34 runs. But even then, it's like that steak dinner we talked about. And steak dinner does not define what our diet is. And
yeah,
sure,
so
we can have that good series, but
if I look at every month, this is what's crazy. You started the year off 8-2.
yes.
This looked great right off the bat. 8-2, looking good. You finished 14-14. Not a good end of the month. You think you would have been up by 3 or 4 games, you weren't. You also, in the second month, you went 5-2 in one of those weeks. But you also went 1-5, which is why you ended up under 500. And then even this month, you had a 5-1 week. But you have a 2-4. You have another 2-4. It's like you just can't. Like if you have 1-5 week and everything else is 3-3, you're +4 in the games. You string a couple months +4, you're doing it. That's good stuff. Yeah. You're doing the opposite.
How do I put this? It's like we can never. We have the potential to be a team that consistently is able to win series, go 4-2, 5-1 over the course of a couple weeks together and have a really good month. But we just haven't done it yet, and it just goes back to the consistency issue, both, frankly, pitching-wise as well, offensively especially. It's just not there. And it's been demonstrated time and time and time again, and I didn't want to admit this before, that this wasn't who we were, who this Rangers team was, kind of just a team with excellent pitching but a horrible offense. But the more I'm watching them and the more I'm looking at these box scores and the more I'm looking at the teams we're playing and how we're losing, it just seems to be what we are. I mean, maybe we could have an Orioles turnaround. Like the Orioles is a team, no doubt, that has a ridiculous amount of talent, and they've started to turn around lately. They're starting to put up some wins, but that's not what we've been able to do. And it's just, we feel like the whole season we've been waiting for that moment that the Orioles have gotten, or at least started to get. But every time we feel like we get that spark, it kind of just dies out.
Yeah, the other thing that I look at, even at the Orioles, like they had 2 4-win weeks this month. And the rest were 2 3-win weeks. So they end up with a +3 in the game differential. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
All year long, when I look at the Rangers, they've never had more than one positive week in every month so far. And to me, if you were to say, they didn't even have a 4 and a 5 win, 4-2, 5-1. They haven't done that. So they are consistently getting a 1-win week, a 2-win week in the same month, which is really bad. But they also are stringing some 2-win weeks together. And it's just and it's tough because even when I look at the Angels, and I'm let's look at the month of May, for instance. The Angels had a 4-win week, a 5-win week. But they had 2 1-5 weeks. So they were 14-17. But the Rangers were 14-18. And they only had 1 1-5 week. And they had 1 5-2 week, and the rest were 3-3 and 2. They finished worse than the Angels. The Angels had 2 1-5 weeks just because they can't string 2 good weeks together. And that's night and day. And the thing that's crazy, to your point and to my point, the pitching gives you those opportunities to string those wins together, and you're just not capitalizing.
Yep.
3 extra inning games. You could have swept the Mariners. Instead, you're 1-2. So instead of a 5-1 week to close out the month, you finish with a 3-3 week to close out the month. You're 12-12. Nothing to write home about. But if you finish 5-1, you're looking at 14-11, 14-10, 15-10. That's a world of difference. It's 5 games.
Just
and it's
win
as
the series.
easy as just to your point, 1 series here, 1 series there. And I laugh because the Marlins this whole month, they were dead on arrival. They were a batter 5 monthly game. 6-0. 6-0, and they're the best team in the NL East, 14-11. That's all you need is a great week. And the Rangers have all the ability. They have it all there. So my question to you is, now that you looked at the month of July, and I guess we can go to the month of July and say, where are you hoping to see the month of July, or do you still think you're going to be hovering around 500 at the end of the month of July?
Realistically, by the end of July, I see us hovering around 500. We're playing some really good teams: Padres, Astros, Tigers, Braves. We haven't seen the consistency for me to start saying that we're going to have those 4-2 weeks, those 5-1 weeks. And like you said, we haven't had a single month this year in which we've had a week where we've gone better than 5-1, or had 2 weeks in a month where we've had a record 4-2 or 5-1, and I just don't see that happening this month. Maybe we get it in the week where we play the A's and the Braves, but that's it. Because every other week we're playing some really good team, and we have not had the consistency to pull together 2 series wins against a bad team and a good team. It just hasn't happened. And especially hasn't happened twice in a month.
What I want to see in July is you start to get healthy, but I also like to see you string together 2 good weeks this month to really show some signs of goodness. If you guys are still sitting at 500 at the end of this, I think you have to have a serious conversation, because we talked about who do you pick up. We got a couple, 10 days before you figure out who you want to pick up. And to me, I don't think the Rangers are sellers. I think the Rangers are still buying. I think the Rangers still believe, even though they're 41-44 right now, I still think they have the opportunity to do this. So we'll see at the end of this week. We got 2 weeks before the All-Star break. That's a good time to kind of marinate it. You got a couple series here. So this week you have the Orioles to start off with, and then you go into, I forgot who you play right off the bat, Orioles and then
Padres.
Okay. So Orioles and Padres, how do you see this week mapping out? We already know they're 0-1.
I think it's just going to be another 3-3 week. I could very easily see us winning these next 2 games against the Orioles, but then only taking 1 against the Padres. But with the consistency of this team, we could go 0-6 or, win 5 straight games. Although I would, if I had to bet on whether we go 0-6 or 5-1, I would put my money on 0-6.
See, this is tough for me because the Padres have been struggling. They're a 500 baseball team right now. The last couple weeks, they've just been playing 500 baseball. So Padres aren't lighting it up. The Orioles aren't lighting it up. It's right there for the taking. So the question is, do they turn it on against the Orioles, or do they get swept like we talked about last week? Are they 2-1 after this break? So I tend to think they're going to start stringing wings together because they're too talented to not. So I have them 4-2 this week. I don't know how they get to 4-2. Do they win one game against the Orioles and sweep the Padres? I don't know. But I think 4-2 is something that makes more sense to me. I don't think the Padres are playing at their best right now. I think the Padres are really suffering. If I look at the NL West is having the same issue that you're seeing in the AL West. Astros and Dodgers are starting to just run away.
Yeah.
Do they come back to earth? I think if I was going to bet on a team to catch them, it would be the Rangers over the Mariners and over the Angels. So I'm cheering for them. So let's start stringing some wins together. I got them at 4-2. You have them at 3-3. We'll talk about the following week. At the All-Star break, you got the Angels and Astros. Let's just jump into that week. For going into the All-Star break, do you see a full 500 going into the All-Star break, or do you see them having a winning edge before the All-Star break?
4 games against the Angels, I do like that. It's pretty far into the future for baseball, but I definitely see us going 500. I don't see us going worse than 500, though, because I think that the team definitely has to be on an upward trend with the way that we've been performing offensively this month, and I definitely think that's going to continue going towards the All-Star break. So, I do think we'll be going 500, at least.
Right. Well, let's see how we get through this week. I got them at 4-2. You got them at 3-3. Let's hope there's no more batter fives for them this month of July. They can't handle it. They can't have it. In all reality, the way the Astros are playing, and in all reality, that's the other thing is I keep a totals on which teams have never been in the batter five. And the Astros and the Dodgers have never been in the batter five. Shocking. They're both up like 7.5 games right now, I believe.
Are the only 2 teams?
No, I have several teams. Let me go over the list with you. So, I have the Yankees and the Rays, Detroit, the Astros, the Dodgers, and you'll never believe the Reds and the Brewers. So those are the last teams that have never had a batter five. And
Brewers
when I look at
interesting.
the standings, the Dodgers are now ahead 7.5 games suddenly over the Padres and the Giants. And if I look at the Astros, it's like, what happened? Now they're up 6.5 over the Mariners. That's a pretty good gap. You got to hope they come back to earth. So, again, I'm watching things, and I'm like, those 2 teams are starting to take off again. And you didn't want the Astros to be there. You were hoping they finished 4th just because you don't like mom's jeans down there. So, guess what, Aiden? They're in 1st, and you're trying to chase mom's jeans down now, which you never want to be.
The Astros don't deserve those 50 wins.
And they're there, and they have them.
It's just like an unstoppable force, but there's no immovable object anymore.
What's crazy about them is they are a plus 16 in win differential, which is pretty great, and they have only scored 350 runs and allowed 304. So their run differential is a plus 46. You compare that to like the Detroits, the Yankees, the Dodgers. Those are all in the the 90s. 46 in a division lead is not a lot.
Yeah, that would suggest that they're hanging on by a thread, and they just had a really good month, and they're going to come back down to earth soon, which is obviously what we're both hoping is going to happen. And would I bet on it? Probably.
What was interesting to me about a lot of the Astro games is like when they took care of the Phillies, it was 2-0, 1-0, 2-1. Just took care of it. And I was watching that, and I'm like, of course the Astros win all these games. And you're sitting there, and I'm thinking about the Rangers. I'm like, the Rangers had 2-1. What would they be doing? Losing 2-1, 2-0, 1-2.
Yeah.
So can they turn this around? It's baseball. We're into the summer months. We got July. We got August. We got some time here. But you can't keep playing 500 baseball and then tell me you're going to make the playoffs. You got to start revving up here. And if July is 500 baseball, I'm sorry. That leaves you with the month of August. And we have a little bit of September, and then it's over. So are they going to play 900 baseball? I don't think so. So this month they have to turn it on. They have to turn it on. So that's what I have them. 4-2 this week. Let's see how they go. As always, I am the host. This is the Texas Ranger wrap-up from SwingBadder. As always, that's Aiden. Share, subscribe, like. We appreciate it. We're here as a family. Misery is what's shared by all as we pick we are born into some of these teams that are given to us, and we embrace them. They're our family.
It's good baseball, but it's bad results.
That's a fair statement. Enjoy baseball this week, Aiden. As always, look forward to hearing from you and also your writings. Thanks, everybody.